Josh Hennick here on 973 ESPN FM, the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea City. It's a Wednesday show. You and me for the next hour. Dave Weinberg not able to join us today. He is actually celebrating his wedding anniversary with his wife today. So I told him, you know what, Dave, you can have the day off. Fair, right? Very fair. But we got to talk about the Phillies. Just bizarre loss today. Absolutely a bizarre loss for the Phillies. We got to get into that. Yeah. The Phillies situation it's so weird because when a team is one of the best in baseball and you're still frustrated with them, I don't know how to handle that necessarily. Does that mean that we should sit here and not pick apart their flaws? Does it say we should be so should I say more ready to pick apart their flaws? Like, what do you do in that situation? We'll get into that this hour. Plus, the NBA offseason is in full force right now, and it's already getting nuts out there because of Monty Williams getting fired today by the Detroit Pistons. James Borrega basically looks like he might be the next Detroit Pistons coach. There's speculation if the Lakers don't want JJ Redick, they might go for Monty Williams. And how does all this impact the Sixers? Well, I'll tell you how coming up in about 20 minutes from now. But first, let's get to the Phillies here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. I made the frustration, or shall I say the complaint earlier this week that I was worried about Brandon Marsh in center field after that one game. And at the time I admitted, look, it's one game, right? I admitted to you guys, I understand that those two errors happened and they won the game. But I asked the question earlier this week if we would have been talking more about it if they didn't win the game. Well, today, Brandon Marsh gets moved to center field. He started the game in left. By the end of the day, he got put in center field, right? And you thought, okay, he played left field yesterday the whole game. So then today, if he's in center field, it's not a big deal. That was kind of like the working theory. But he had, I don't know if it's a worse error than Monday, but it was at least just as bad. He completely misread the ball. He completely he looked like an idiot out there, honestly. He looked like the worst center fielder I've ever seen in that moment. He tried to come in on a play. He completely misread it. He tried to slide and catch a ball. He had no business sliding and catching. It got past him, and it led to a big inning for the Padres. And I understand what Nick Earnshaw told Mike Gill about 2 hours ago on the Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN, when Nick Earnshaw pointed to, hey, Alec Boehm had made a mistake as well. Frankly, I don't care that Alec Boehm made a mistake because Alec Boehm is not here for his defense, okay? Alec Boehm is not in a Phillies uniform right now because he's a great defensive third baseman, or he's expected to be a high-level defensive third baseman. Alec Boehm is here because he was a top draft pick in the Major League Baseball draft, and he has shown himself to be one of the best RBI men in all of baseball. The man's ability to bring runs home, his ability to be a high-level hitter, that's why it's the Major League level. So I'm not sitting here acting like, you know what, that's a guy that I'm going to be all up in arms about. I can't do it. It's just not in me to be upset with a guy who makes a mistake. This is the third mistake Brandon Marsh has made in 2 games in center field. He made 2 mistakes on Monday. He made a mistake today. Now, the mistakes on Monday didn't lose them the game. But you could argue the mistake he made today was a huge reason why they lost the game. And it goes back to the concern that I had on Monday, and I'm bringing it up here again on 97.3 ESPN FM. Josh, I think hanging out with you on a Wednesday night. Should the Phillies have never sent Rojas down to the minors? Was it a bad decision by Philadelphia to choose to keep Dave Dahl here instead of Rojas? And frankly, Dave Dahl had another bad day today. Another day without any hits. Now, he did walk, so we give him that. But Dave Dahl started out with 2 home runs, with doubles. He was looking great. And now he can't hit almost anything. From my perspective, it looks like the Phillies made a horrible miscalculation. Because now, Brandon Marsh has not been able to play center field. You can't have Pache play center field every day because Pache just not a consistent enough hitter for him to be in a major league lineup consistently. And I know you've given guys like Edmundo Sosa some reps in the outfield, but we're getting to the point where I don't know if the Phillies made the right decision. And they may need to get Rojas back up here as soon as possible because Marsh has shown himself to be a very good defensive left fielder. But he has now made 3 just dumb decisions in center field. Decisions that I could see a little leaguer making. I could see someone who has not played baseball their entire life making. Someone who maybe is not familiar with center field. Like if you put Trey Turner in center field, even though Trey Turner has played, I think it was 45 games, whatever is in center field. If he made this mistake, I would be like, all right, you made a mistake, right? And if you made multiple mistakes, I'd be like, okay, you made multiple mistakes, but you don't have the number of games that Brandon Marsh has as a center fielder. Brandon Marsh has started 221 games in center field in the major leagues. And probably even more than that at every level of life, because obviously he's been an elite athlete throughout his life. So he's played center field at different levels. How does this guy make 2 horrible mistakes? 2 of them Monday, 1 today, and I'm just supposed to be okay with it? I'm not okay with it. And I think this is a big reason why the Phillies will be adding an outfielder at the deadline. Because I think they're starting to realize that the way this team is currently constructed, they're just not getting the production they were hoping or expecting from their outfield. If you combined Marsh, Castellanos, and Rojas, they honestly have one of the worst outfields in all of baseball. It is starting to look like this team just is not good enough in the outfield. And on a day where Bryce Harper hits 2 home runs and he gets no other help in the entire lineup, it makes what Jim Bowden said, the former Major League General Manager, CBS Sports MLB analyst, and he was on MLB Network Sirius XM radio and said this about what the Phillies are going to do before the deadline.
In the case of the Phillies, they made it very clear they want to upgrade the outfield. That's what they want. I don't think they're getting enough offense that they want overall in the outfield. And so I think they like to get a starter, and I think they like to get a better 4th outfielder. And it's not because, that's my opinion, because that's what they tell me.
I think the Brandon Marsh not being able to play center field has amplified that conversation. If you're Dave Dombrowski, if you're Sam Fold, you're having a conversation after that game today and seriously saying, you know what, we need to sleep on the idea that we're not just trading for outfield help. We're not just trading for outfield productivity. we might be looking specifically for a center fielder. I think that is a big part of this conversation moving forward for the Phillies because you cannot, I repeat, cannot keep playing Brandon Marsh out there if he is going, if he's going to play like this. And that's why I don't agree with Dan from EHT at 609 403 0973. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. See how Dan from EHT says Brandon Marsh hasn't been playing center field. Come on, Josh. It's a overreaction Philly style. Rojas isn't good enough, obviously. The Phillies need to make a trade. Maybe they can get Profar from the Padres. Well, I don't know if they can get Profar from the Padres, but it's certainly an idea. I don't care how long it's been since Marsh played center field. You are a major league baseball player. My position on professional sports has been and always will be. If you are paid to do a job, I don't need you to be the best at your job. I need you to be competent at your job. Ruiz made an error today in the game as well. But it was more like he miscalculated than anything else. For those who didn't see the game, Ruiz gets a ground ball to hit the Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper has to field the ball. A traditional baseball play is the pitcher has to run the first base to catch the ball to get the out. And what you saw in that specific situation was Ruiz runs to first base. Harper throws him the ball. But as Ruiz is catching the ball, he realizes they actually never got to first base. So after he catches the ball, he tries to reach out with his foot to hit the base. And the Padres runner ends up being safe. Now, that specific error did not lose to Phillies the game because they were already losing at that point. But that's an example of somebody just making an honest mistake. I don't accept this idea that you are Brandon Marsh and just because you haven't played center field in months, that it's okay for him to make 3 mistakes over 2 days. I don't accept that reality. I'm not asking you, Brandon Marsh, to be the best center fielder in baseball. I'm asking you to be competent. Let the ball drop in front of you. You don't need to make this Sports Center top 10 highlight as a center fielder. I need you to catch the ball. I need you to make fundamental baseball plays. One of the things they always tell you at every level of baseball, little league, junior high, high school baseball, college baseball, every level of baseball, they tell you, don't let the ball get behind you in the outfield. If you know you might not be able to catch the ball, let it land in front of you so it doesn't become a problem getting the ball in to stop the advance of the runners. Brandon Marsh couldn't do that today. He couldn't do something that you were told at every level of baseball. It's what they taught us in Little League. They yelled at us in junior high school for me. High school, every level of baseball, they always told us, it doesn't matter about making the best play. Keep the ball in front of you at all costs. Brandon Marsh violated one of the fundamental points of baseball today. So, yes, I expect more from him because he is being paid to be a professional baseball player. And he couldn't do something that the average baseball player should and would know how to do. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Back to the Profar point. Profar will not be traded. The Padres are a half a game out of the wild card right now at 38-40. They're not. The Padres are more likely to try to add some help than lose anybody. Because right now, when we look at the wild card, The wild card right now is the Braves, the Diamondbacks, who's coming into Citizens Bank Ballpark this weekend, and the Cardinals. And the Padres are a half game behind both the Cardinals and the Diamondbacks. And if the Cardinals or Diamondbacks lose today, Padres jump into the wild card race. So they're not trading Profar. Profar has been arguably their most consistent player this year. So you're not getting him. And I'm not saying you should trade Brandon Marsh or dump him or get rid of him. What I'm telling you guys is that you need somebody else to play center field. You need somebody else to go out there and be a competent center fielder, because Brandon Marsh has demonstrated that for whatever reason, he can't do that. All right, we'll get to more of your texts on the other side. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Josh, I think hanging out with you for the hour, just you and me. We'll talk some more Phillies. We'll also get into the NBA offseason and perspective on a multitude of issues. Also, I'll give you my thoughts on the other side about the passing of Willie Mays. Willie Mays, arguably the greatest baseball player to ever live, passed away last night, pretty much right ahead of the game that is honoring the Negro Leagues down in Alabama. They're literally playing a game with the Giants, and the game is literally to remember the Negro Leagues, because today is Juneteenth. And so Willie Mays died before we even got to have that game. And it was a little eye-opening. And I'll get more into the other side, but it was a little eye-opening that Willie Mays declined to show up for the game because he wasn't feeling well. So it was almost like maybe he saw this coming, that he was not going to be living many more days. So all that and more still to come. Josh Hennick hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Hi, this is Billy Schwein from the Locker Room. Join me and Josh Henning on Saturday, June 22nd, as we broadcast live from 10 a.m. to noon in Sea Isle City for Connor Barwin's Make the World Better pickleball tournament.
The Locker Room with Billy Schwein's live broadcast is being brought to you by Captain Chucky's Crab Cake Company of Sea Isle City, offering online ordering and in-person seafood market located at 4111 Landis Avenue. McCann Realtors of Sea Isle City, serving home buyers and vacationers with knowledge and experience since 1939. Bright Spot Cafe, located at the corner of Landis Avenue and 40th Street, open for breakfast and lunch with farm-to-table food 7 days a week all summer long. Come out and support Connor Barwin's Make the World Better Foundation at the Sea Isle City Pickleball Court on 42nd Place.
It's the Locker Room with Billy Schwein, Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon for Connor Barwin's Make the World Better pickleball tournament on 97.3 ESPN.
It's the Nissan Thrill of Summer sales event going on now at Matt Blatt's Nissan. You'll be thrilled in a new Nissan Sentra S, just $159 per month lease, or Kicks S, just $199 per month lease, and zero security deposit.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
You heard right. New Matt Blatt Nissan Kicks S, just $199 per month, or Sentras, only $159 per month lease, both with zero security deposit, $29.99 due, and you'll be cruising up to 39 miles per gallon. Stuck in a loan or lease? AJ the Trade Man can get you released, so don't repair it, don't fix the broken windshield, don't even wash it. Bring it to Matt Blatt Nissan.com. On approved Tier 1 credit for DMAC. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle plus tax tag and $589 fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to mattblattnissan.com for complete details. VIN RY324390 and RI498444. Central lease selling price $21,570. Kicks lease selling price $22,840. Offer ends 7/6/2024. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
4th of July appliance savings are happening now at the Home Depot. Save up to $2,400 on select kitchen packages from brands like LG, America's most reliable line of appliances. Get the LG French door refrigerator with craft ice to keep your summer cool. Or upgrade to the LG Smart Top Load Washer with AI that selects optimal wash motions and settings. Get up to $2,400 off select kitchen packages at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing valid June 19th through July 10th, U.S. only. See store online for details. America's most reliable line of appliances per independent study.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. B21.
Powered by the all-new BetParks New Jersey Casino and Sportsbook app. BetParks.com. This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
The fans continue to show up for the Phils. I'm Nick Earnshaw with your South Jersey Sports Center and with your 97.3 ESPN question of the day. The Phillies fans continue to show up for the team at the ballpark consistently for each home game this year, with the Phillies ranking second in average attendance across Major League Baseball. It got us thinking here at 97.3 ESPN. If the Phillies are unable to get to a World Series this year, are they in danger of losing the fan momentum similar to how the Sixers are viewed in town? Let us know by texting 609-403-0973 or use the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. In my estimation, I think the Phillies will be fine if they can at least get to the championship series once again this year. If they're able to get to the NLCS, I think the fans will continue to show up because they know that this team is a contender and have shown that they can get to the World Series. Once again, let us know and text in at 609-403-0973. Your forecast is next.
I've always gotten tons of UTIs. Cranberry products never worked for me, and I was desperate for a way to be proactive. I'm Jenna Ryan, CEO and founder of Eucora. We've worked with doctors to develop effective urinary tract health products. Just mix a packet of Eucora with water and drink it when you need support, like right after intimacy. Eucora is helping over 100,000 women stay healthy. Ready to join them? Get 30% off at eucora.com/radio. That's UQORA.com/radio.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zero. Tomorrow is the first day of summer, and surprise, surprise, it's going to be a hot one. Expect a few clouds tonight and fairly comfortable temperatures as we drop to around 69 degrees. Tomorrow, hazy sunshine, inland high 88, but much cooler at the beaches again. Heat and humidity kick up another notch on Friday. Sunny clouds, high 91, mainly 90s with some spot thunderstorms this weekend. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
Did you know that New Jersey is leading the nation in clean energy investments?
Really, New Jersey?
And all with one thing in mind. You.
Me?
Uh-huh. New Jersey's Clean Energy Program offers incentives and services that benefit New Jersey residents, educators, government, and nonprofit entities to help save energy, money, and the environment.
Save money while saving the planet. Who knew?
Now you do. Visit njcleanenergy.com to learn even more.
Maybe we should change our nickname to the Clean Energy State.
A message from the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennick on 97.3 ESPN in the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Josh Hennick back here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Before we get back to the text board at 609-403-0973. And your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. I did want to get more in real quick on the Willie Mays conversation. For those who didn't hear or may have just seen him passing, arguably the greatest baseball player of all time passed away last night. And I don't think it's any small thing that we have now seen three legends of their sports all passed away recently. Bill Walton passed away, Jerry West passed away, two of the most famous in terms of basketball talents to ever play the game of basketball. And then Willie Mays, arguably the greatest talent to ever play baseball. And, you know, it's significant for a variety of reasons, not just because Willie Mays was a great baseball player, but because of the fact that Willie Mays symbolized something that can never be replicated. And that was Willie Mays was legitimately the first time that we saw an athlete come up and him be not a white athlete. And this is the real significance of the history of the Negro Leagues and the history of baseball. You know, people can talk about how Babe Ruth is potentially the greatest player of all time all they want. And there's certainly a valid argument to be made there, not just because of Babe Ruth's hitting prowess, but because he was also a pitcher. Babe Ruth was a great pitcher before he became one of the greatest hitters of all time. But the problem with guys like Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, and Lou Gehrig, and all the guys, the Jimmy Foxes, right? Ted Williams, Joe DiMaggio, all these guys played in an era where they did not have integration. And so the relevance of baseball recently merging the Negro League historical statistics with the major league numbers to create one massive baseball history statistical leaderboards is because there were tons of players in the 19 teens, the 20s, and the 30s who were great baseball players, but they were not allowed to play baseball literally because of the color of their skin. And while Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier, he was the first guy to come into the major leagues. And then later after him, guys like Larry Doby and Satchel Paige also came to the major leagues. Willie Mays was, for those who don't know, the first guy who came to the major leagues as a young player. See, that's where the difference is. Willie Mays was the first guy to come to the major leagues with the Giants up through the system. Most of the guys up to that point had already been players at the Negro League level. They've already been playing games, and then they came over, right? But Willie Mays was the first guy who came up as a 20-year-old in through the Giants system. He was Rookie of the Year, two-time league MVP. He had two 50-home run seasons 10 years apart. I don't know if this record will ever be broken by Willie Mays, which is Willie Mays was an all-star 24 times in his career. That will probably never be broken. The guy was one of the best players in baseball, arguably 24 times. And so when you look around baseball history, the man is the symbol of the term five-tool player. For those who don't know, five tools are hitting, running, fielding, throwing, and baseball IQ, basically. And I heard Jim Bowden mention this last night on CBS Sports HQ, where he said, when scouts, GMs, and all these people talk about the five-tool player, like Mike Trout is considered an elite five-tool player because Mike Trout can hit for average, he can hit for power, he can throw, he can run, he can field. Willie Mays is the prototype of that. And every player in baseball history is measured in terms of their all-around ability. They are measured up to Willie Mays. And so that's what was lost. What was lost was not just one of the greatest players of all time, but somebody who had such an amazing career. And He missed a year of that career because he had to serve in the military in 1953. So imagine how many more home runs and more stolen bases and more RBI and more base hits Willie Mays could have had. And that's where maybe he's a little like the Ted Williams conversation, because Ted Williams also missed time due to military service. And you also wonder about Ted Williams, how much better his stats would have been if he didn't miss. Now, Willie Mays only missed 1 year of military service. Ted Williams missed 3 years. And you could argue he missed 3 very important years of his major league career in the military. So, these guys are a flashback to another era. And I always get uncomfortable when we have these conversations about, is Aaron Judge one of the greatest Yankees of all time? Or, all this stuff, because really there's only a handful of players in the last, let's go with 30 years, who can even touch what some of these baseball players did 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago. And Willie Mays walked onto a baseball field in a world where he was never supposed to be the best. That was supposed to be Mickey Mantle if it wasn't for injuries. That was supposed to be Frank Robinson. That was supposed to be all these other players of those eras. It was supposed to be Hank Aaron. It was supposed to be Willie McCovey, his own teammate, right? It was supposed to be Roberto Clemente. All those guys were supposed to be the greatest of all time. And Willie Mays was arguably better than all of them. And it wasn't even like an intense debate. So baseball lost not just a legend, not just a standard bearer of the game, but arguably the greatest of all time, as Willie Mays passes away at the age of 93. I appreciate everybody for indulging me on that, because I think sometimes we get so carried away with the here and now that we don't forget how we got here. And you could argue that Willie Mays changed the game so much that we have now spent the last 60 years, 70 years trying to find the next Willie Mays, trying to find the next man who walks on a baseball field and he's just 10 times better than everybody. It's just wild. It's just wild that we have the closest we have had to that guy. The closest baseball has had to a dude walking on a field and he's just far and away better than every other man on the field is Mike Trout in his prime when he was healthy and Barry Bonds. That's pretty much it. I mean, you could make an argument that Ken Griffey Jr. before the injuries derailed his career. You could make an argument for some other guys over the years, but I think that we have really, it's a once in a generation deal. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Barry Bonds' godfather was Willie Mays as well. I don't think it's a coincidence that there was that connection between those two generations. Arguably, the greatest player of one generation had a close connection with the greatest player of another generation. I don't think those things are coincidence at all. All right, back to text board. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Talking about Brandon Marsh to start the show. JP from Ocean State chimes in and says, Brandon Marsh is making mistakes that would get him benched on a high school team. The Phillies aren't in contention for a World Series. They have to make a move. That's from JP in Ocean State. JP, you're 100% right. And I don't know who that player is necessarily. I don't know where exactly you find a, for lack of a better term, a competent center fielder who can come right in and be the Phillies guy day in and day out and let Marsh. I think Marsh is a good left fielder. I think that I still want him in my lap. I don't want to trade him. I'm not trying to get rid of him, but I just don't think he should be this team's guy in center field anymore. I think he's proven that there's something off with his ability to play the position, and you need a more competent player to execute at that position. But the problem is that there's no obvious answer into who they should get, because when you look around baseball and the guys who theoretically could be traded, it's not like there's an obvious name. Like, people keep pointing to Luis Roberts Jr. Luis Roberts Jr., he has been injured off and on for the last several years. He is batting under 200 this year. Why do I want him? And why would I give up a lot to get him just because he had an amazing year last year, the only healthy year of his career? Speaking of the White Sox, Tommy Pham makes a lot more sense. He can play center field. He's batting, what is it? There's 283 this year. If you told me the Phillies got Tommy Pham to play center field, I'd be fine with that. And I think I would trade several role players or one minor leaguer and a role player to get him. But aside from Tommy Pham, it's not like there's going to be a bunch of guys who are going to be available around Major League Baseball who could be like, you should get this guy. Because with the expansion of the wild card, teams don't want to make trades anymore. Teams are saying, like the Padres, Danny HT, he mentioned Jerks and Profar. Profar's playing for a team that could be back in the wild card by the end of tonight. They're half a game out. Teams with players like Profar are not going to trade them, because if they can make the postseason, they are going to do it at all costs. I mentioned Tommy Pham from the White Sox. He's a guy who he's of a certain age. Maybe he's not part of the team's future plans. You don't have, though, a ton of guys out there who are going to be, oh yeah, if you get that guy, it makes sense. Like, someone could tell me, maybe, what's his name? JJ Bleday from the A's, right? The A's are a horrible baseball team, right? And Bleday is a solid guy who can play center field, but he's 26 years old. Is the first problem. So you're going to have to give up something significant to get him. Second of all, he's a left-handed hitter. The Phillies don't need another left-handed hitter. It is going to be a huge problem when they get to the postseason, when they face a team like the Atlanta Braves in the postseason, and they got Max Fried and Chris Sale going out there. You don't want a lineup full of left-handers. You need at least one right-hander. So JJ Bleday, there are some issues there, okay? And by the way, I'm not saying Tommy Pham is perfect either, because even though Tommy Pham is a right-handed hitter, as I mentioned, he's a little bit of an older player. He's 36 years old. So do you give up something small to get a veteran guy who can play center field? Maybe not the best athlete in the world, but he's right-handed. Okay? It's at least up for conversation. And I don't know, is Pham or Bleday going to be that much of a better center fielder than what you already have? That's part of the conversation as well. Because, again, teams like the Pirates, teams like the Padres, even the Mets, they are all right there in contention. The Washington Nationals, right there in contention. Chicago Cubs, right there in contention. The Giants, right there in contention for the wild card right now. And they may still be right there a month from now. And you go to the American League. The Red Sox are right there. Blue Jays are hanging right around the being contention. So are the Rays. The Tigers are on the outside looking in. I'm assuming the Astros still think they can get in the postseason, considering they're the only team not currently in the playoffs who have a plus run differential in all of baseball, which in itself is an insane stat. It's them and the Reds. They're the only teams that are not in the postseason that have a plus run differential. And the Rangers just won the World Series. Am I going to sit here and act like they don't want to try to make the playoffs, though? So you got to find a team that is totally out of contention, who you can look at and say, yep, that's a team I can have a conversation with. And The only other team I can think of that could make a deal with the Phillies is the Angels. Well, Mike Trout's coming off injury, so he's not available. And so is Kevin Pillar, who is also injured right now. So I don't know. What do you do with these guys? Who is the best option? Who is the best answer? Who makes sense? I personally think that, a guy like Pillar wouldn't make sense because he is a right-handed hitter and he can play a very good defensive center field. And he just got his 1000th career hit. So he would be a guy who could make sense. How old is Pillar? He's got to be in his 30s at this point, right? Yeah, he's 35. So to me, if you are willing as a Phillies fan to accept you're not going to get the best player in baseball, but get a piece to play center field who's not left-handed, you look at guys like Kevin Pillar and Tommy Pham. Because the problem is guys like J.J. Bleday and others, they're left-handed. Jazz Chisholm of the Marlins, he's left-handed. It sounds great if you got those guys, but they're left-handed. I don't need another left-handed hitter for this team. And that's a huge concern for me moving forward. Because I said, when you get to the postseason, there are going to be left-handed pitchers. We saw the Brewers try to do this to you a couple weeks ago. Now they lost all those games, but they still slowed down your offense because they threw so many lefties at you. The Braves have lefties in their starting rotation and in their bullpen. And you know that every single National League team is going to be trying to acquire, what is that? Left-handed pitching. Why? Because the Phillies, the best record in the National League, and they know that their lineup is Schwarber, Harper, Stott. They know they already got 3 lefties right there in the lineup. So it's like, how do we neutralize these everyday players? Brandon Marsh. The Phillies can platoon him. That's only one guy who can legitimately get out of the lineup. If you're in the postseason, are you benching Bryson Stott? For who? It sounds great in theory, but it's a huge difference between putting a guy on the bench in the regular season versus the postseason. And your bench already has left-handed hitters on it. Again, that's at least my perspective on the Phillies when it comes to fixing the center field position. You got to get a right-hander. You got to get somebody who can offset some of this lineup imbalance. All right, we'll check back on the text board on the other side. Josh Henning hanging out with you on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small.
Can't wake up without it.
Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
Here in New Jersey, it's one wow after another, after another, after another. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Let's head south to a true gem of the Jersey Shore where the beaches are sparkling clean, nice and wide, and completely free. It's Wildwood. After lounging on the beach, stop by Maury's Piers to ride the Great White Roller Coaster and more. The Wildwoods have a full summer coming up with free events, live music, and fireworks. Oh, and watch the tram car, please. Find your wow at visitnj.org. New Jersey, little state, lot of wow.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
Are you a neglectful roommate? Leaving the toilet paper tube as a surprise when it runs out? Do you get asked, how do you sleep at night? Then you should go to Mattress Firm. They have knowledgeable sleep experts trained to help match your sleep style with the right mattress, meaning anyone, even people like you, can sleep. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Hi, I'm Cesar Milan. People are always commenting on how happy and healthy my dogs are. One of the reasons is the food my dogs eat.
Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend is a premium freeze-dried raw dog food designed to support your dog's health, happiness, and lifespan.
Their joints are more flexible, their teeth are cleaner, and their coats shinier, and why they seem more youthful even as they age.
I'm veterinarian Dr. Marty Goldstein. I've helped countless dogs thrive with one simple concept. Your dog needs a high-meat diet similar to what their ancestors ate in the wild.
Dr. Marty created Nature's Blend using 50 years of nutritional research and experience, helping dogs make incredible turnarounds. Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free bag of Cod Krispies, their wild-caught, ultra-crunchy cod skin treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511.
Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
With GMF financing to qualify buyers, excludes Corvette, excludes prior sales.
Don't buy a car anywhere until you hear this. Bennett Chevy must sell 200 vehicles immediately. So right now, brand new Chevys are on sale at the GM supplier employee price. That's right, you pay what we pay. Plus, you keep all the rebates, saving you as much as 10% off MSRP. You heard right. You get both GM supplier employee prices, plus you get all the rebates up to 10% off MSRP. And because Bennett must move 200 new and used vehicles, we'll give you a minimum $10,000 for any rotted out old clunker, even if it was on fire. Yes, a minimum 10 grand for any clunker towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. Imagine how much you'll get for a good trade. These are real deals you won't get anywhere else but Bennett Chevy. So you must hurry for best selection. With deals like this, nobody beats a Bennett deal, and I mean nobody. Together, let's drive at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
4th of July appliance savings are happening now at the Home Depot. Save up to $2,400 on select kitchen packages from brands like LG, America's most reliable line of appliances. Get the LG French door refrigerator with craft ice to keep your summer cool. Or upgrade to the LG Smart Top Load Washer with AI that selects optimal wash motions and settings. Get up to $2,400 off select kitchen packages at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing valid June 19th through July 10th, U.S. only. See store online for details. America's most reliable line of appliances per independent study.
Are you ready to smell better naked? I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the OBGYN creator of Lumi, the whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, and beyond. It's pH optimized to safely and effectively control odor anywhere you have it, but wish you didn't. Plus, it's proven to work better than a shower with soap alone. Whether you shower twice a day or 3 times a week, Lumi works better. And who doesn't want zero body odor? With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I'm so sure you're going to love it, or you can return it for free.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 500 and get 15% off your first purchase with code 500, like the Lumi Starter Pack, Acidified Body Wash, or new Lumi Plus Sweat Control. That's LUME deodorant.com, code 500 for 15% off your first purchase. Love it or return it for free. That's LUME deodorant.com, code 500 to save 15% today.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Now they have everything they need to come to life. Dell Technologies and Intel are creating technology that loves ideas, loves expanding your business, evolving your passions. We push what technology can do, so great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now.
Electrifying offers await at BMW of Atlantic City. Lease a new 2024 BMW i4 eDrive 35 for $449 a month for 36 months. Online at bmwatlanticcity.com. Offer expires July 1st. For more details, call 609-316-2393.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennick on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
All right, before we wrap up the Power Hour Notice Game Night, I mentioned earlier in the show that I would explain how the firing of Monty Williams could impact the 76ers. And so follow my thread here for a moment. So the 76ers, I'm at least convinced, they are not going to necessarily get the best player available in terms of the traditional sense. I know Joel Embiid was giving Paul George a side eye at the NBA Finals, and I know a lot of people have talked about Jimmy Butler and stuff, but there is certainly a possibility the Sixers team does not sign those type of players in free agency, and they're more likely to maybe use their first-round draft pick as part of a trade to absorb somebody else's contract. And the reason why I bring up Monty Williams is because I'm getting the sense that the Cavs, the Pistons, and the Lakers will all have new head coaches before the draft. And who those teams hire is going to impact how they view their off seasons. And all three of those teams have players who, in theory, could be traded. And while they might not be necessarily traded to the 76ers, they all have players who could be traded. They could have trade candidates. And so my question coming into these upcoming days of the NBA offseason is Daryl Morey actually going to wait until free agency before he starts making moves? It's certainly possible that he doesn't. I think that there is a legitimate possibility that the Sixers could look around and say, we're not going to wait to see what happens with Paul George. We're not going to wait to see what happens with some of these different guys. We're just going to go out and get somebody now. And again, I don't know if the person is Jimmy Butler. I don't know if the Miami Heat are serious or not about trading Jimmy. The more we go along, the more I get the sense that Jimmy Butler is probably going to stay in Miami because it's gotten too quiet down there. Pat Riley spoke a lot of smoke, and then he kind of just walked away from it. So I get the sense that Miami, for now, is going to hang on to Jimmy. But there are a ton of players out there who are trade candidates. Brandon Ingram, for example, down with New Orleans. And again, he might be traded to Philadelphia, but he could trade somewhere else as part of a larger deal, right? The Hawks are going to trade either DeJounte Murray or Trae Young. Darius Garland, the Cavs, has been rumored in trade conversations for years, right? Who knows what's going on legitimately with Mikal Bridges in the Nets? I think a lot of Sixer fans would be thrilled with that move. And by the way, what Sixers decide to change up their entire way of playing offense and defense and say, let's go out and acquire a Jarrett Allen and have him play center and turn Embiid into, more of a perimeter outside-inside guy, right? They could change their entire offense. What if they trade for someone like Lauri Markkanen? The Jazz, they have not been serious about building a contender recently. So could the Sixers just say, look, our big move is going to be adding Lauri Markkanen. Imagine him pairing him next to Embiid. And there's other players out there as well who could be trade candidates who would be interesting, would be conversation points. And I think that is why I'm curious to see what happens over the coming days with the Pistons, the Cavs, and the Lakers' jobs. Because a team like the Lakers could say, we're going to trade D'Angelo Russell and refurbish our team. And we need a team that can absorb some contracts in order for us to make these deals. Sixers could be that team. What if the Lakers decide to acquire Trae Young and they need to get two other teams involved to make a four-way deal? Guess what? The Sixers could be that team. And the Sixers could walk out of this with a really good player or two or three because they were the team willing to absorb some contracts. Something to keep in mind as we get closer to the NBA draft, which is next Wednesday. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night. Have a great night, everybody.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get $50 in gift cards good for use at JoJo's Italian Grill, Egg Harbor Township for just $25.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
Seizethedeal.com.